We recently celebrated our 10-year anniversary at the Real Story Group, and I thought that, like any milestone, it would be useful to go back and see what we've learned and how marketplaces have evolved over the past 10 years. And I think I could probably distill it down into sort of three broad lessons. The first thing has to do with what makes an enterprise successful or not in implementing content and collaboration technologies. We see a wide variety of enterprises invest in these technologies and pretty wide variation in success. And I think the biggest predictor of success has been the extent to which an organization builds their internal capacity. Now, I don't mean that you should avoid outsourcing. In fact, one trend is that projects have, of course, gotten much bigger over the past 10 years, and enterprises have needed to outsource more. And so we've seen systems integrators and agencies and consultancies all growing and doing more work for you, and all for very good reasons. But what it does mean is that you have to have the internal knowledge and resources to manage these large projects, including domain expertise. And when I say domain expertise, I mean particularly around process and information analysis. If you have that and really good program management, I think it's an important precondition for your success. The other big lesson is around the various marketplaces that we cover: document management, portals, search, collaboration, social, DAM, web content management, digital marketing, so forth. And this lesson is kind of interesting because it's really about what hasn't happened. And what hasn't happened, despite constant predictions of it, is that these marketplaces haven't consolidated. And by that I mean there have been really dozens of successful vendors that have persisted throughout the decade and seem very strong going into the next decade. In fact, I wish I had 10 euros for every time someone put their hand on my shoulder and said, "Son, this market is going to consolidate. Just like the ERP market, we're going down to 3 big vendors. Make a choice among the big 3 because all these little guys are going away." Well, that hasn't happened, and I don't think it's likely to happen soon. Now, to be sure, some things have changed. You have the rise of software as a service, open source, cloud and mobile definitely changing these environments, but they're not necessarily going to drive a lot of consolidation. I think that, like today, you have a wide variety of strong vendors to choose from. I think tomorrow and over the years to come, you'll have a strong variety of vendors to choose from. And so you'll have to make some choices accordingly. I think on the whole, this is a good thing for you because of the diversity of different businesses and business models. More choices, typically, the better things turn out for you. Obviously, if there's any way we can help you in this choice, let us know. I think the third big lesson is really around what makes your organization unique, and in some ways, what makes your organization uniquely successful. You know, one of the amazing things has been really witnessing the incredible diversity of business styles and operations across the thousands of enterprises we've helped around the world over the last 10 years. Now, to be sure, there's some similarities among firms. For example, financial services firms all face particular regulatory environments, sometimes particular cost structures and other constraints. But what's been really most interesting is the differences among the enterprises. And so there's a temptation, I know, for you to look to your peers for what has been successful, and that's useful, but I'd also encourage you not necessarily to follow the crowd. And this has particularly come up when we've helped organizations select technologies, and we're frequently surprised about what constitutes a good fit for one organization versus another, maybe sister organization. And it has to do with the unique culture and history and background of that particular enterprise. And I think I'd go so far as to say that what's different about your organization is probably what makes you successful and is therefore something to celebrate. I'll end on a personal note. A personal lesson for me is that being an analyst has been far and away the most rewarding job I've ever had. And I certainly hope that I've taught you half as much as you've taught me over the past 10 years. Now, if you think you have the skills to join our team, please drop us a line, because we're always looking for experienced analysts and salespeople. These are difficult jobs, but also very rewarding. So I hope to hear from you, and here's to another 10 years.